Hello, hello. Welcome back to this episode of Coach Cara's podcast, Itchy Bitchy and Guess. Do you like my t-shirt? I am dressing for the day I want to have. Batgirl. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to have... Anyway, right, I'm not sure I'm going to have that kind of day. Although, this morning, I've actually been quite productive and quite efficient. Do you ever just get to the stage that do you ever just feel that when you've taken your foot off the gas, as in the weekend, that Monday mornings are just like sloth-like? Anyway, totally done loads this morning. Yep, trained, coached my ladies, drank some coffee, walked the dog, watered my tubs at the front door. Actually remembered to put the food bin out and the jar tub thing. Brought them back in, done my check-ins. Now I'm doing a podcast, drinking tea, just with my second breakfast. I used to have my whole breakfast when I was at the gym, and then I would be like starving by 10:30. So I've cut my breakfast in two. So I have a wee banana in the morning before I go down to the gym and train, and then I had half my baked oats when I'm at the gym after training, and then I've just had my other half. It's actually quite late because it's 11:30 just now. I've just had the other half, cherry and almond flavour, by the way, very nice, with a dollop of Greek yoghurt. It was very nice, and a cup of tea. And I think that because I've got my Batgirl t-shirt on, I'm actually going to smash the day. Anyway, that's not why I got yous on here. I didn't get yous in here for me to chat about my breakfast. I got yous in here to speak about the biggest problem with midlife fat loss. I want to speak to you about one of my clients who has just hit a milestone. So fat loss wise, right, she's 9 kilograms lighter, 8.98 kilograms to be precise, right, but 9 kilograms. But the biggest thing for me is her mindset shift and her some of the comments that she's been saying, right? So I do coach midlife women on fat loss, right? That is what I do. However, I am not interested in women getting the skinniest version of themselves, right? And quite often what happens when midlife women come and work with me is their goal will change over the course of the time that we're working together. And that is totally cool, because sometimes at the beginning when I ask them what their goal is, they will say fat loss. That is amazing, all right? I just want to say to everybody, right, there is a lot of stuff out there on the internet and on socials with influencers and stuff about midlife women and fat loss, and they're sick of hearing about midlife women trying to diet, blah, 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 right? It is perfectly acceptable to have an aesthetic goal, right? If you want to change your body shape or your body composition, less fat, more muscle, all right, it is perfectly acceptable. I have no issue with coaching midlife women for fat loss. I have an issue about coaching midlife women for fat loss when they hit me with their pre-baby weight goal, right? That is the biggest issue that I have. So midlife fat loss for women, right, can absolutely happen, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the skinniest version of you that we're working towards. Definitely not, right? I have lost body fat. I absolutely still want to change the way that I look, and the only way you can do that is by sorting out your nutrition and calories and lifting weights, obviously, all right? But anyway, back to this client, right? So her goal originally, she didn't actually give me a scale weight, which is also quite like a breath of fresh air, but she knew that she was heavier than she had been previously, and she also knew that she had clothes in her wardrobe that she wanted to get back into. Now, clothes in her wardrobe that she wanted to get back into from like a year ago or a year and a half ago, not from when she was like 18 or something ridiculous like that, all right? So that was the goal, basically. She never had a scale weight goal. She didn't have a fat loss goal. She didn't even have a dress size goal, because quite often sizes across all the different shops are very, very different, right? Now, and I'll give you an example of this, right? In Next, I can get into a size 8, right? At no point ever am I a classic size 8. definitely not. But in a next dress, I could get into a size 8, all right? I am usually a size 12 in jeans in next. Now, if I went to New Look, I would probably be a 14, or it's been a while since I've been in New Look, but I would be a 14 or a 16. In Matalan, for example, it depends on the item of clothing. I could be a size 10, I could be a size 14. All right. And again, it's the same with gym gear. In a Sweaty Betty bra top, I am a small. In Sweaty Betty shorts, like fitted shorts, I've got size 10s and size 12s in my wardrobe. I had a dress on a couple of weeks ago that I bought out at Matalan actually, and it was a size 16. I have dresses in my wardrobe from Next that are an 8 and a 10. So dress size as well is not particularly relevant, especially in women's clothing. So anyway, she wanted to get into her clothing in the wardrobe from, she'd put on some weight and she wasn't happy over the last couple of years. So that was the goal. So we took it a little step at a time, all right? Anyway, her comment in last week's check-in was, I am having to address that although every single item of clothing in my wardrobe now fits me, which is amazing, that was her goal, definitely, I don't think I actually like them anymore. Lols. So, obviously the clothes are a year and a half, 2 years ago or whatever, right? Fashion changes, definitely, but your taste changes as well, and your style and what you're comfortable wearing changes as well. I've actually suggested that she goes and gets a personal shopper, because when we change our body shape, when we get a little bit slimmer, all right, our hips get a bit narrower, our back fat gets a bit less, our underarm wobbly bit gets a bit less wobbly, our thighs maybe don't touch as much as they did before. It's very easy to go into a shop and automatically pick up the style that you always used to wear, or it's very easy to go in and automatically pick up the size that you always used to wear. And it's difficult sometimes to get a perspective on what you like now and what you want, what suits you. So I've said to her, right, so previously I've spoke about this before, all my clothes used to be black, because like black makes you look like half a stone thinner, doesn't it? Does it fuck, by the way, right? But that's what I used to wear. And I also used to wear, because I'm quite booby and quite hippie, as in I have a bit of a waist, I always used to wear like a wrap dress so that I could tie the dress round, because if dresses fitted me on the boobs, they were hanging off my hips, and if they fitted me on my hips, I couldn't get the zip up the back because my boobs were disproportionate. So I always used to wear wrap dresses, and I did go for a long time that I would automatically still walk into a shop and pick one of them up, and that's not necessarily the case anymore. I don't have to for a start, but also I don't want to. And it's about confidence. It's very hard to change your style when your body shape's changed at our age, basically. It can be hard because your confidence can take a dip as well. So I've told her to go and get a personal shopper. Anyway, she's going to have to buy a whole new wardrobe. So will I cost you a fortune? Yes, I will. I will. But it didn't start there. Obviously, this has been a process that we've been going through, right, which is like amazing. So this lovely lady, we have been working together since May 2025, right? So just over a year. But also when this lady first came to me, now she reckoned she would be with me for like 3, 4, 5 months, and then that would be it. She reckoned she would absolutely, it would be fine. 3, 4, 5 months, and that would be it, and then she would smash it, right? But, and this is through no fault of her own, by the way, a lot of the time, we have a very unrealistic view of how long it actually takes to lose body fat, right? So we're actually doing 3 things here. We're losing body fat. We are training our body and our brain to unlearn all those stupid fucking rules that we've learned for years about dieting, about cutting carbs out, about cutting fruit out, about cutting fat out, about cutting joy out, about cutting tastiness out. So we're working on all of that, right? We're working on not cutting those things out. We're working on pushing control and practicing eating what we fancy not what we fancy, eating our favourite things every day, right? But in a push and control. So we're practicing that. And we're also working on our confidence, because we have effectively been dieting for 30 years. We've effectively failed every single fucking diet that we've ever done, because we've got to our goal weight, turned into an absolute dick and put the weight back on. This isn't anybody's fault, by the way. If this is you, it's not your fault. I have done it many a time, right? But the diet industry is not set up and not designed to keep you at the weight that you want to be at continuously, all right? There is never any after support. It's always just about the diet. It's always just about losing that body fat. It's always just about if you could just get to that number on the scales, and then nothing. Absolutely nothing, all right? So we've been practicing that as well. I actively encourage my clients to step away from MyFitnessPal every now and again. Right now, it could be for a weekend, it could be for a day, it could be for a meal, it could be for a holiday. It depends on that individual person. But you have to learn to trust yourself around food, and you have to learn to practice eating without MyFitnessPal. So we've been working on all of that as well. All right. Anyway, May 2025 we started, and we have one more check-in left and a deficit. Then we're going to slowly reverse out the deficit, all right? And again, right, see my coaching, see all this, right, fat loss and practicing confidence and practicing MyFitnessPal and calorie deficits and protein and macros, right? I have not fucking reinvented the wheel, by the way. I am not some amazing person that has reinvented science and how fat loss works, all right? But I am very, very, very realistic, and I understand where my clients are coming from because I've pretty much done it myself as well. All right. So if you are going for a coach, which everybody should do, all right, find the one that appeals to you. Find the one that you can relate to, right? For example, if you're a midlife woman, don't be going and getting an 18-year-old coach, right? Because if they tell you that they're clued up on the perimenal and midlife, right, they're fucking lying. They'll have read about it in a book, all right? So find the coach that's relative to you, with the experience or with the body shape that you want. Do you know, it's never going to look exactly the same, but if they can do it, chances are you're going to be able to do it as well. But also find somebody that you can actually speak to, that you can relate to, that you like what they say, you like their personality, and make sure they're reputable, all right? Don't be anybody that tells you to move more and eat less needs a punch in the fucking throat, all right? So just make sure that they're reputable. Right, anyway, back to my lovely client, all right? So let's, phase one, all right? The scale obsession. How many of you are obsessed with the scales? Yep. If you step on the scales in the morning, literally determines what mood you're in for the rest of the day, right? This is something that we work on as well. And this is not a good place to be, all right? But it's totally reversible. Everything that I say, ladies, is it's workable, ownable, it's figure outable, and it's totally reversible, all right? It's just a habit that you've got into. There's no drama. It's just a habit, all right? And I used to be the same. I would wake up in the morning, step on the scales, and I'd be like, oh my God, I am a skinny ass bitch, and all the confidence would be out. Or I would step on the scales and I would be like, fuck me, I am massive. And then I would proceed to the wardrobe to find my black clothes. All right, anyway, scale obsession, and also the mirror. But the mirror's not an obsession. It's a, oh my God, there's a mirror, let's not look in it. It's kind of like getting your photograph taken. All right, so day one, first check-in sounded like 99% of the women who come to work with me. I am frustrated as fuck with the scales. I have been good all week, but they're still going up and down, right? Scales will fluctuate, always. Every single fucking day, regardless of what you do, all right? You have no control over the scales, which is why sometimes it's really annoying, all right? But you literally have no control. You could do every single thing that I ask you to do for fat loss, right? Stick to your calorie deficit, make sure you're getting 8 hours of sleep, drink 3 to 4 litres of water a day, train, do your steps, blah, 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 and the scales could still jump up by half a kilo tomorrow, all right? There's nothing you can do about it. All you can do is follow the process, all right? Frustrated as fuck with the scales. I've been good all week, but they're still going up and down, right? So sound familiar. You eat a salad, you hit your steps, you wake up, scales are half a kilo. You feel like a failure and your day is ruined, all right? So this is about perspective, and this is why my clients step on the scales every day, and then we take an average at the end of the week. Takes the fluctuations out of it. So all you're doing is comparing this week's average to last week's average. And again, It might be higher, and you might have done everything. That's okay. It will sort itself out, actually. Yes, it will, very quickly, all right? You do not get fat loss every single week when you're on a diet, all right? Don't let it ruin you. Anyway, we didn't quit. We just kept practicing. So we practiced our food, we practiced making healthy choices, we practiced portion control, we practiced the types of food that she wanted to eat and that she liked, because life's too short to eat food that you don't like, all right? And we just practiced following the process. Yeah, getting the habit tracker out every night, ticking the boxes, trying to sort out your sleep, getting a wee bit extra every night, increasing your water, doing your steps, all right? But eventually, right, we did get to, and again, this is different for every client, depends how long it takes them to work through the process, and that's totally cool, all right? Eventually, I got a comment, I don't actually hate what I see in the mirror anymore, right? Now, again, this is massive. How many of yous can actually stand in front of the mirror, right, naked, and tell me that you actually like what you see? Not that you love it, just that you like what you see. Because there's quite a lot of you ladies that don't. We're so very, very critical, all right? So I don't actually hate what I see in the mirror anymore is massive. Now, she didn't say I look like a supermodel. She did say I don't hate it, right? And this is a massive first step. It just means that super critical inner voice that we've got is starting to quieten down. It's amazing. Honestly, my heart was singing. So we then got wardrobe wins. Let's call them wardrobe wins. That's good, all right. How many of you have clothes in your wardrobe, by the way, that you're hanging on to just in case you can fit into them? I've got one dress in my wardrobe, right? Now, I bought it, I can't remember, from Zara, right? I absolutely love it. It is a A-line, short, like mid-thigh denim dress. I love a denim dress, by the way, with a zip going right up the front. Now, I bought it, I think about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and I bought the small, didn't fit, couldn't even get the zip up. Bought the medium, I took the small back, got the medium, still couldn't get it on. Bought the large. I don't even know what Zara sizes are, by the way. I don't think I've ever bought anything out of Zara. So I can wear it now. I haven't actually worn it. I've just never had an occasion to wear it. And I can wear it now, and it's very nice, but it's very, very fitted. Anyway, it is about confidence and stuff like that, right? So the physical evidence that the data on the scale doesn't tell you, right? So the data on the scale, the figure on the scale doesn't tell you that you're feeling awesome. It doesn't tell you that you're feeling a wee bit more confident, you're lifting your chest up a wee bit higher, your shoulders are back a wee bit, all right? It doesn't tell you this, but this is super important. And again, lack of confidence, it usually comes to, a lot of it's down to midlife, right? Perimenopause and all that malarkey. But as far as fat loss is concerned, a lot of it comes from consistently feeling that we've failed at diets because we've cut calories, we've lost the weight, we've hit the target on the scale, and then we've just said fuck it and went all in again, all right? So, comments. I went to work the other day and tucked my shirt into my trousers. And again, for midlife women, right, this is massive. A lot of us have tummies that we don't particularly like, all right? Whether we've had kids or not, I've not had kids, right, and I have a tummy. Absolutely, all right? And there is a time that I wouldn't have tucked my shirt into my trousers or my t-shirt or wore a crop t-shirt and jeans or whatever, all right? So twice now she's been to her work and she's tucked her shirt into her trousers. Right now, an element of this is that she has lost body weight, right? She's lost fat and she's feeling more confident. But another element of it is actually giving zero fucks, right? Now, if you have somebody, whoever it may be, right, that you wouldn't ask their opinion, that you wouldn't ask their advice on something, right? So there's all these people in your life, right? And there'll be certain people that you'll go to for advice or whatever, right? If there's people that you wouldn't ask for advice for, right, why the fuck are you worrying about what they think of you? Just don't do it. It doesn't matter. They do not matter. All right. Another couple of comments. I'm wearing the skirt. This was a denim mini skirt, by the way. Honestly, girl after my own heart. Absolutely love denim. Denim, definitely. Anyway, denim miniskirt, right? Are you too old to wear a miniskirt at our age? Are you, fuck, by the way? Just wear the fucking miniskirt, all right? And then the next comment, I am buying bikinis for the holidays. And again, do you know, you've got a body, put a bikini on it. There's your bikini body. That is literally it, right? But it is about confidence. It's not about your body shape or your body size, right? You don't have to be a size 8 to wear a bikini. You don't have to have a flat stomach to wear a bikini. You don't have to have a thigh gap or whatever to wear a bikini. Just wear the fucking bikini. If you want to wear the bikini, wear the bikini, right? I have spent years in swimming suits, right, that don't fit me. I have short legs and a long body, by the way, all right? And I'm literally walking about howking the swimming suit out my bum and my front bottom, all right? Because it's literally cutting me in two. It is so uncomfortable. And I've done that for years because I didn't think I had the body to wear a bikini. It comes from confidence, all right? Just practice, ladies. Wear the bikini. Just stop in the living room, wear it on. You'll be fine. All right. So the scale it can't measure confidence. It doesn't tell you. The scales are fuckers, by the way. All right. It can't measure how the jeans hug your hips and how awesome you feel in those jeans, right? It can't tell you the absolute power trip and how awesome you feel tucking your shirt in because you're not trying to hide your tummy anymore. Yeah, scales don't tell you that. Also, relationships with food as well. That's another massive thing that we work on. A lot of it is to do with social events, but a lot of it is just to do with day-to-day eating as well, all right? And realising that you can still have a glass of wine and just get straight back to it at the next meal or the morning after if it's a nighttime glass of wine, all right? Now, I would question anybody that consistently has like a bottle of wine every Friday night and a bottle of wine every Saturday night or whatever, all right? That's just a habit, right? You don't actually need that. I questioned a client this morning who had one drink, right? And I questioned her, not because I'm giving her a row, but because I consistently make my clients feel uncomfortable by asking them questions, but it's always from a place with love. Like, if you really fancied that glass, that or whatever it was, that drink that you had, and it was one, then that's fine. But really, what does one drink do? That makes me sound like you can only go out and get steaming. That's not what I mean. But I don't want anybody actually, just to do it out of habit. I want my client to consciously choose to spend her calories on that thing that's going to give her pleasure. That's pretty much it, right? And if she comes back to me and says, do you know what, I just really fancied it, absolutely fine, not a problem. But I've planted that thought there, all right? Anyway, she understands now that she hasn't fallen off the wagon just because she had 3 glasses of wine, right? She's just not fallen off the wagon. It's a night out, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. Like, you don't have to punish yourself for the next 5 days by trying to eat 800 calories because you had 3 glasses of wine. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely not. And also other things, when you go out and there's buffets. I was out on Saturday night. Did I have a buffet? I did have a buffet. It was lovely. I had some crispy chicken and some mozzarella sticks, and some tablet, and they'd made top hats, so I had some top hats as well. It was lovely. It was absolutely lovely. I chose to have the buffet. It's very nice. No guilt. Right. So anyway, eventually you will get to the stage that you don't actually just do things out of habit. Like, you don't have the buffet just because it's out of habit. You don't have a bottle of wine just because it's out of habit. But you'll choose what you want to spend your calories on and what you don't want to spend your calories on, all right? Me personally, like, for example, if I went to Starbucks or Costa or a coffee shop, I would never choose to spend my calories on a full fat latte with syrup, because some of them are like 300, 400 calories, and I just don't want to do that, all right? However, I will happily spend calories on full fat cheese. And this is what I work on with my clients. It's about them finding out what they want to do. It's not me telling you my rules and you trying to stick to them, because what works for me doesn't necessarily work for anybody else. It's about finding out for them what they want to do. So I chose to have my dinner before going out and not eating the buffet. Amazing. Why? Because they want to spend their calories on other things. Maybe they wanted a couple of glasses of wine. Maybe they wanted to spend their calories the next day on a cooked breakfast. That's totally cool. All right, it's about what suits you. So this is actually one of the most important things for midlife fat loss. It's like the holy grail, shall we say, right? It's getting away from that all or nothing diet mentality. How many times, women, how many times, my lovelies, have you said, I'm going on a diet, cutting out carbs, cutting out alcohol, cutting out crisps, cutting out chocolate, right? Like, seriously, how long are you going to last? A week? 4 days? 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks at a push, but come on, right? You are going to eat those things for the rest of your life. So why would you diet and cut them out, right? Because you're going to have to reintroduce them at some point. So you might as well just keep them in and practice portion control. Yeah. So this lovely lady, we've stopped viewing going out as a sin. We've stopped viewing drinking alcohol as a sin. We've stopped viewing the buffet as a sin, and it's not bad food, and you're not off the wagon just because you've had that, all right? But she started to make conscious choices about food instead of just doing things out of habit, right? And this is massive, absolutely massive, all right? So the final chapters of this little phase and this little chat and this little podcast is another couple of comments. So I feel more in control every week, right? Feeling in control is also massive. I'm not going to say it's the holy grail, but it is a bit of a game changer, right? And feeling in control is where confidence comes from, right? So a lot of people think that if they have a goal, they need to wait till they feel ready. They need to feel motivated. They need to feel confident that they're going to do it. You don't. You just actually need to start. You just need to start from wherever you are, right? It can be messy as fuck and chaotic as fuck. You just actually need to start. You need to get that first meal under your belt, and then the first day under your belt, and then the second day, and then the third day, right? That's what will build your confidence. Your confidence will never come if you're too scared to even try. 100%. All right. And then another couple of comments. I feel like my whole mindset has changed. And again, this comes from confidence. This is self-belief, because you'll actually start to believe that, you know, maybe you could do it. Maybe this could be the last time. Why? Because it's a sensible calorie deficit. Because we're working on your relationship with food at the same time. Because we're working on your self-confidence and your self-belief. Right, and it's done in stages. There's like weekly check-ins. We just adjust things if it didn't work. If you try something that doesn't work, we just adjust it. We just try something else. There's no drama. Absolutely. Do you know, we're allowed to change our minds. Definitely. And then eventually, after all the support, after all the weekly check-ins, I don't just cut you loose and say, fuck off. I'll see you in 6 months when you've put all the weight back on. No, of course I don't. Do you know what I mean? We slowly reverse out of it. So we increase the calories every week. Right, and we practice adding in extra food. Maintenance, by the way, eating at maintenance, right, is harder than fat loss, in my opinion. All right. So it's all planned, right? Anyway, another pair of trousers and another pair of jeans coming out the wardrobe as they're fitting now. Every single item in my wardrobe fits me. This is where we're at the moment with this lovely lady, all right? And then on Friday, she totally threw a curveball at her check-in because, yeah, they might fit me, but I don't like them. I know. So let's look at what's actually happened, right? So she's lost nearly 9 kilos, right? But what she actually did was she practiced. She practiced with her food. She tried different strategies, especially when she was socialising. She realised that fat loss happens. It's just in the background. It doesn't become the be-all and the end-all, and the scale weight doesn't become the be-all and the end-all neither. It just gets less important. So when you consistently execute the boring habits, right, because let's face it, eating salad, making sure you're hitting your fibre target, making sure you hit your protein target, drinking your water, getting your steps in, going to the gym, sorting out your sleep, right, that is all boring as fuck. There is no glamour in it whatsoever, right? And if all I spoke about was that, right, nobody would listen to me because it's so fucking boring. But it's the stuff that works. It's the boring stuff, right? Eventually, she stopped stressing about what the scales were doing on the daily, which is like amazing because, what did I say at the beginning? We have no control over the scales, all right? I've got notes here and I've just winged past them. So, if you're in the frustrated as fuck phase, right, I want you to remember this lovely lady, all right? It hasn't been magical and smooth and seamless. It hasn't, right? She has had weeks where the scales have literally bounced around, right? They've like fluctuated between two scale weights, and that's been it, right? Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. All right. But there has been holidays, there's been parties, there's been nights out, there's been days out, there's been lots of activities, there's been alcohol, there's been socializing, all right? But there's also been days when it's not quite went to plan. But taking control and trusting the coaching process is pretty much the best thing to do. Kid you not? So we're back on, we're up to maintenance, we're not up to maintenance calories, we're reversing our diet, so we're reversing out the diet, which means we're at the lowest point at the moment and we're going to add in extra calories every week, right? And all she's going to do is increase their portion sizes, pretty much, all right? So stop, ladies, think about your goals, right? And think about if you can set another goal other than scale weight. All right. Think about what that might be, right? Chase that feeling of being able to tuck your shirt in and not caring. Chase the feeling of buying the denim miniskirt. Chase the feeling of buying the bikini, all right? Because a lot of these things, right, you have all just packed them away and you're just like, oh, well, I can't ever do that. I can't ever do that again. I never wore a bikini when I was younger. I told you that story, all right? But now I'm like, ooh, I could totally buy a bikini. All right. So think about, like, just don't get hung up on what you think everybody else's opinion or perception is, because it's bollocks, all right? It's just you. You get to decide. Absolutely get to decide, all right? Anyway, I'll put my link in the show notes. If you know of anybody that has these feelings and just wants to listen to an awesome win, please send them the link to my podcast, all right? If you've got any questions on my coaching midlife fat loss for women, just drop me a message, my lovelies, all right? Anyway, have an amazing week. Keep your boundaries. Give zero fucks. And I'll see you in the next episode, my lovelies.